Hello and good morning viewers. It is the 17th of September 2020. We're in Scarborough, North Yorkshire. Don't forget, photography in a public place in a public space, not a crime. Badgers shouldn't grant you extra rights. And there's the open space. And we're here today just to represent, or at least to report or cover, depending how you see it, the Black Lives Matter symbol here with a swastika. So I think the people, or at least a couple of individuals in Scarborough, believe that Black Lives Matter are some sort of organisation akin to the Nazis, that they're the ones that are walking around shouting at people, threatening them, waving their fists in the air, forcing people to take the knee. And maybe just this is some sort of Scarborough's idea of a white lash, or silence is violence, because it's under this bridge and not many people can see it. So we've got the mummies in bread, probably the same artist, and yet it's interesting that in contrast we have the yin and yang, dark and light, good and evil, order over chaos, the symbol next to it. And basically the reason why I'm also reporting on it as well is because I just can't understand why it is that these issues just keep on surfacing. And I think it's also made worse and perpetuated by celebrities, and particularly one individual, Lewis Hamilton, Formula 1 champion. He's also allied himself with climate change and how much he's concerned about the environment and how much he cares about the plight of ordinary people who are struggling, because, you know, his pain's real. And it's interesting considering that his industry churns out 256,000 tonnes of CO2 emissions a year. It takes 16.4 tonnes for every one of his Formula 1 cars to be made. The Mercedes company, sister company AG, has been fined $700 million for fudging its carbon emission numbers so it could cheat regulations. Lewis has purchased 15 cars, of which 8 of them are supercars. His carbon footprint alone is the size of North Yorkshire for 10 years. He has a £25 million private jet, a £3 million yacht, and is sponsored by Petronas, which is basically making him the poster child of the petrol industry. He takes about 200 private plane journeys a year, and then tells everybody not to eat meat to save the planet. But he knows at the end of the day, he also knows that people of colour have been oppressed. However, he supports a violent Marxist revolutionary group that wants to destroy capitalism, the very thing actually that's created millions of jobs and created science and tech to take on horrible, nasty diseases. His Formula 1 industry has actually got a turnover of $4 billion, so much for the fight against capitalism on that one. But Lewis gets it. He understands the oppression narrative, and he thinks the Met Police are targeting minorities and black people unfairly and unnecessarily. But it's interesting that 73% of knife offenders happen to be black. 53% of the victims happen to be from black or ethnic backgrounds. 17% of those offenders are aged between 20 and 24. That means 2/3 of under 25s account for all the knife criming in the capital. But Lewis gets the pain. He struggles on with the average Joe. He knows what it's like, and yet he's on a £60 million a year contract. That's £1,153,846 a week. He's on £164,835 a day, which equates to about £114 per minute. But the struggle's real, folks. He knows the pain. He also wants to reduce the carbon footprint by getting everyone else to chip in, and we should all work together. But it's a little bit difficult considering he has an £18 million 6-bedroomed house in West London, a £32 million Manhattan condo with swimming pool and fitness centre and wine cellar, and a penthouse in Switzerland overlooking Lake Geneva. A £13 million apartment in tax haven Monaco. His net worth is $285 million. while I observe the struggle that supermarket staff and care workers have to go through, it must be a comfort knowing that Lewis Hamilton knows your pain. However, there's probably a slight turning of the tide, because there's a new challenger now within the Formula One grid, Max Verstappen. He didn't take a knee, and he works for Red Bull, and it's owned by Dietrich Mateschitz, Trump-supporting populist billionaire against political correctness. He fired 2 diversity directors and sacked entire culture teams for corporate virtual signalling. Is this the only resistance to Black Lives Matter coming through the brickwork? Black Lives Matter have chanted deaths for cops while complaining about their lack of care with the 3 dead in Chaz. The message that they resonate is unacceptable. I'm sure there have been occasions where there have been injustices, but I think calling for the blanket deaths of all officers seems to be beyond the pale. I don't think they're going to be able to solve it. I was thinking, it was questioned once. I think Morgan Freeman answered it best. And he said, how do we deal with the race issue? And he paused and he thought about it, and he just said, stop talking about it.